We're watching ChillyBoy Productions. I'm Larry ChillyBoy Chilson, and this is my review for Eternals. Now, before we get into this review, go ahead and click that subscribe button down below so that you can chill with me on each and every one of my new videos. Eternals is a 2021 superhero action film from Academy Award winning director Chloe Zhao that follows a group of outer world beings known as the Eternals as they protect humanity from deviant. But when mysteries of their past begin to unfold, it affects not only their future, but the future of Earth itself. Now, right up there with Dune, this was easily my most anticipated film for 2021. I have been so excited for Eternals. I love Chloe Zhao. I love her filmmaking style, even when I don't necessarily love the full package of the film itself. I think she's just so talented across the board. But I was just really excited, one, to see a woman of color get a shot at a Marvel film, but two, a woman who has such a different style to the MCU get to showcase what she can do with this material. Then that teaser trailer came out and I was sold immediately. And then the full length trailer I watched on repeat, continuous loop. It was seriously so amazing and probably still my favorite trailer in some time. Well, that and Batman. But I knew next to nothing about the Eternals as a group, as a comic book property. I hadn't really ever gotten into this specific group of heroes. So I was going in pretty blind, just knowing I was excited to see it. And I'm happy to report I loved Eternals. So let's go ahead and talk about those positives first. Well, let's start off with Miss Chloe Zhao herself, because this is a beautiful film, quite possibly Marvel's most beautiful film to date. It is absolutely stunning. The cinematography is gorgeous. Just the composition of each and every shot here is gorgeous. And I loved seeing her sensibilities. A lot of natural light being brought in to contrast the big visual effects that are happening. The visual effects themselves are stunning. There's maybe one or two moments of like green screen that you could kind of tell, but for the most part, this is the most complete and beautiful of the Marvel films from a direction standpoint. It's stunning. And to just bounce off of that, I loved the deviants and I loved how they looked. One, I thought their designs were so cool. They had this kind of organic, otherworld feel to them that I thought was amazing. The visual effects and the powers that were on display were also really cool. Really, the costumes and all of the different costume designs are fantastic. Honestly, top to bottom, visually stunning. But I also found the story to be just as beautiful. This is such a human film, right down to the resolution of one of our big problems. It comes down to humanity. We focus a lot on the Eternals themselves and their relationship as a group and as a family themselves. And watching that dynamic in play is so wonderful. And yes, we get our first real LGBTQ representation in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it is fantastic. For once, Disney did not bait and switch us, y'all. Not only do we get that kiss right in the camera, not that Star Wars mess, but that family dynamic actually quite moved me. I got much more emotionally invested there than I had ever anticipated. And it's because they do such a good job developing that family and Fastos, the character. He's so good. Oh, and getting to see him in action and see him be this hero was really empowering to me. And although he's not like the leader of the group, he's not like the strong one of the group or any of that, getting to see that representation in this capacity was really, really something I didn't expect to hit me as hard as it did. The cast is wonderful across the board. We have this beautiful, diverse, stunning cast. Salma Hayek is amazing in this role. Angelina Jolie is fantastic. Richard Madden is amazing. Brian Tyree absolutely kills it in his role. Mal Nanjiani is very fun in the film. Barry Keoghan is also wonderful. But for me, some of the big standouts here, we had Don Lee, who brought a surprising amount of emotion to the film. And I think part of that is the writing and his character, but I just wasn't ready for what he brought. We have Makari, who is played by Lauren. And then we have Makari, who is played by Lauren Ridloff. And I remember seeing her in Sound of Metal last year. And wow, she blew my mind. I loved her in this film. And although it's not a community I'm part of, getting to see a deaf superhero in a huge role and play such an awesome character, it's also really empowering. And I think this film does that so well, whether it be the different ethnicities and the different races, the different cultures, all of these different communities brought together in this superhero film is just empowering. She, as an actress, and that character, Makari, are amazing. And she was one of the big surprises for me. Then we have Kit Harrington, who I love already, but he shocked me. He doesn't have a huge role in this film, but he is so charming and charismatic, really has a magnetic star presence in the film, made him a standout, honestly, of the entire film. And then, of course, Gemma Chan as Cersei is probably the highlight here. She is fantastic. She gives this really warm, beautiful performance. It really matches well with Salma Hayek's warm, beautiful performance here. And I think this is just a star making turn for her. She's really been on the up. Star has been rising, and you get to see it on full display with Cersei. But in addition to just their dynamic, I enjoyed the actual plot and story itself as we moved forward. And I have to give credit to the screenplay and Chloe once again, as it takes risks and it takes turns and makes decisions I was not really anticipating. Yes, a lot of it is by the books, and there is a certain formula. It is still a Marvel film. However, it does take risks. It actually did catch me off guard, which I enjoyed. Not to mention, we also pushed the boundaries with probably the steamiest scene Marvel has ever put to the screen. So be ready for that. I also think it had the perfect kind and perfect amount of humor. There is quite a bit of humor here, but for me, this felt like a much more organically infused style of humor. We don't just have zingers thrown in left, right, and center in the middle of random stuff. They're more infused into who the characters are and feel natural amongst the dialogue. And then we have the original score from Ramin Djawadi, who is amazing, and his score is fantastic. Really, I loved most everything about this film, if I'm being honest. I can't wait to see it again. Well, then, what didn't I love so much when it came to Eternals? Well, there are some decisions made in the film that I'm not going to get into because we're not talking spoilers here, but with such a big cast and so much to cover, there are some decisions made here that we don't have enough time to explore. And I wish we did have that time. I would have stayed in the theater for another 30 minutes, but I guess it would have really even taken longer than that to get through some of this. But there's some really interesting conceptual stuff that takes place here. A lot of moral issues are brought up, and most of them are handled great. A couple of them I enjoyed that they're there, but we're just not able to really explore them to the full depths that I would have liked. Also, we do spend quite a bit of time in flashbacks. Specifically for probably the first act of the film, it does struggle just a bit to find some sort of forward momentum because we're spending so much time in some sort of flashback. I think it could lose some members of the audience in that first act because we don't have that forward momentum to really grip you into the current story being told. But overall, I adored Marvel's Eternals. I think this is a beautiful film, a film I cannot wait to revisit. Not only is it stunning to look at, but the story is so beautifully human. You just feel that humanity as you're watching it, and it rings true for me. Plus, as I said, it's so empowering to so many different groups. And I think even when you're not a part of one of the groups in these characters, how can you not feel uplifted and empowered by these characters and these people here? These characters are wonderful. I loved this film. What can I say? I think Eternals is definitely a full price ticket, and you should probably see it on the biggest screen you can find in your area. I don't think you'll regret it. That is my review for Eternals. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click like down below and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on all of my latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. Are you excited to see Eternals? And are you familiar with the Source comic book series? Let me know either in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your continued support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.